Over the last decade, I've been brought into a dozen of companies between $5 and $100 million in revenue that all sound different on the surface, but break in exactly the same way underneath. Hi, everyone. I'm Sam Palazzolo. The pipeline is inconsistent. Forecasts aren't trusted. Sales, marketing, and operations don't agree on the numbers. And investors are asking a question leadership can't confidently answer. How predictable is your revenue really? What's changed isn't effort or ambition. What's changed is the operating model. And McKinsey's recent analysis on AI-driven workforce transformation puts hard data behind what I've been seeing in the field for years. Revenue growth is no longer a headcount problem. It's a productivity and leadership problem. So is consulting dead? Maybe, but this is exactly why fractional chief revenue officer and RevOps leadership isn't a stopgap anymore. It's become the default growth model for successful companies of the future. McKinsey's 25 Squared project, shrinking teams and expanding output, it's one of the most telling McKinsey takeaways from the firm. They increased client-facing roles by roughly 25%, and they reduced non-client-facing roles by 25% and still grew overall output. I see the same pattern in SMBs and portfolio companies. Revenue teams were built for a world where scale required more people, more SDRs, more analysts, more RevOps admins. AI has blown that assumption apart. And today, many of those tasks, reporting, data cleanup, pipeline hygiene, even first-pass outreach, are automated or AI assisted. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most companies didn't replace those tasks with better leadership or strategy. They just layered it on top of AI revenue ops systems. See, fractional RevOps works because it matches this new reality. You don't need more bodies. You need fewer, better decisions executed faster. So productivity gains are real, but only if someone owns them. Here's what I'm talking about. McKinsey reports saving 1.5 million hours annually by using AI for research, synthesis, and repetitive work. That time didn't disappear. It was redeployed toward a single point of execution. And this is where I see companies struggle. They invest in tools. They buy AI platforms. They expect productivity gains to magically show up in revenue. But productivity without ownership just creates faster chaos. Fractional CROs and RevOps leaders exist to convert productivity into performance. We decide which metrics matter, how pipelines should actually flow, what forecastable really means, and where AI accelerates execution and where it introduces risk. Without that leadership layer, AI becomes noise, and with it, AI becomes leverage. The 25 Squared model of McKinsey is why fractional leadership wins. And McKinsey themselves described its approach as 25 Squared. Fewer support roles, more value-creating roles, and higher overall output. That's not a consulting insight. It's an operating principle. Fractional revenue leadership follows the same logic. Instead of hiring a full-time CRO, a full RevOps team, multiple layers of management, companies bring in experienced leadership exactly where it creates the leverage, without long ramp times or fixed overhead. And I've seen this reduce cost, increase clarity, and most importantly, restore trust in the numbers. For board members and investors, this matters. Predictability beats growth theater every time. AI agents aren't replacing tasks, not accountability. McKinsey now operates roughly 40,000 human professionals lighter and 25,000 AI agents with near-party exclusiveness. This mirrors what I see across revenue organizations. AI agents can update CRMs, generate reports, draft emails, analyze trends. What they can't do is own a revenue number. So fractional CROs sit precisely at this intersection. It's translating AI output into executive decisions, aligning go-to-market teams around shared metrics, and making trade-offs when data conflicts. AI accelerates execution. Fractional leadership ensures it moves in the right direction. Junior work isn't disappearing, it's just being rewritten. Another subtle but critical McKinsey takeaway: junior roles aren't going away, they're just changing. AI absorbs the grunt work, forcing humans to operate at a higher level sooner. This is happening inside revenue teams right now. The old apprenticeship model, learn by doing admin for 2 to 3 years, it's collapsing. Without strong RevOps leadership, that creates a confusion and burnout. So fractional RevOps introduces structure, playbooks, and guardrails so team can actually grow into this new reality instead of being overwhelmed by it. So why investors are driving this shift faster than founders? VCs, PE firms, family offices, they don't want heroics. They want repeatability. Traditional revenue teams are slow to adapt, expensive to fix, and they're difficult to unwind. But fractional CROs and RevOps leadership gives investors and boards of directors faster time to impact, clear diagnostics across portcos, consistent revenue governance, predictable forecasting frameworks. That's why I increasingly see fractional leadership deployed before full-time hiring, not after failure, but as a growth accelerant. Revenue leadership has changed permanently. And McKinsey's article in this 25 squared workforce data confirms what many operators already feel. Output is being decoupled from headcount. AI has written or rewritten the rules. And the companies that win aren't the ones hiring faster, they're the ones aligning smarter. And from my seat, fractional chief revenue officers and RevOps leadership isn't a trend. It's the natural response to an AI-augmented world where productivity is abundant, but clarity is scarce. If revenue feels stalled, forecasts feel fragile, or investors are pushing for predictability, the problem isn't effort, it's the model. And the model has already changed. I hope you've enjoyed this article, McKinsey's AI Workforce Shift. I'm Sam Palazzolo. Real strategies, real results.